you. Yeah. I'm going to take your water away. Okay, Helen, please. Take it easy, mate.
Thank you.
You're right.
I'm afraid I've got some practical ideas here, so thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's nice to have Tyler back with us, and this is a personal submission, and it wasn't discussed with the board, so it's basically a personal submission. The first one is the Climate Fund. I'd like to support the fund, but make two ideas as to how you could implement it. First of all, I think it should be a targeted rate. I think it will make clear council's willingness to make steps towards climate change and make it equal for each ratepayer. When I was on council in about 2002, we brought in the waste bins for recycling. We made that a targeted rate, and we've had no negative feedback about it. So I think climate change and recycling are the same picture. They affect everybody, and I think a targeted rate, and then people will see that you are doing something. They might say it's sort of not enough, but at least it's shown to the public. The second point I'll make is I think you need a separate bank account for this fund, or at least a sub account. We had an experience in 2002, 2003, I think before Yanni was there, where there was a housing fund that was meant to be there for upgrading of social housing. It was 12 million, probably now be 25 million, and an enthusiastic CEO at the time took the fund and put it somewhere else. We were never able to track it fully, but I think you have a separate fund that councillors oversee. So that's all on climate change. The other thing I'd like to talk to is arts, the Arts Centre. You've had a lot of submissions on this. I was chair of Arts and Heritage and financed from 2010 to 2013. I think it's critical that we retain funding for the Arts Centre. I always saw it as a line item. I did ask for it from the years of 2008 onwards, and I was told by the staff they didn't have time, and they have since sent it to me this afternoon. I haven't seen it, but I think it needs to be a line item and that it's funded fully, or not funded fully, but funded well. It's got three aspects to it. It's heritage, it's the arts, and it's tourism. It's an amazing attraction for tourists. In terms of heritage, it's the Gothic revival movement, which is restoring a medieval approach. Benjamin Mountfort was one of the most prominent architects of this movement, and you've got the Arts Centre, the museum, the Canterbury Provincial Buildings, Christ College and the Christchurch Cathedral are all part of his work. So they're all in one precinct, and I think it's really important the Arts Centre is funded well by, in fact, council. So that's really all I've got to say. Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
No questions? Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Do you think the options for the Arts Centre are not, the Arts Centre should be in council ownership or not?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Do you think that the Arts Centre should be in council ownership?
It was given to the people of Christchurch in 1974. They formed an Arts Centre Trust. Mm-hmm. I think it's always going to struggle, but I think you're probably better with a trust as long as there's a reasonable council funding. I was concerned in 2013, just before I left council, at the lack of a wind-up clause. And I understand it possibly hasn't been clear since, but there's been a new act which Jerry Brownlee took to Parliament in 2015. So I think it needs to be clear that it goes to council or goes to a charitable trust.
Or do you think that we should, say, have new trustees that have more focus on a sustainable and financially viable organisation? Throwing that at you.
I've had a look at who, in fact, the trustees are. I don't actually know them, but they look competent. But I guess that's up to... Who's it up to? The Arts Centre?
Yeah.
Trust? I don't know. But I certainly think it does need some council funding.
Yeah,
and it needs to be a line item. So it's there for 3 years. In every long-term plan it's re-looked at.
Okay.
But it's certainly there.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
Thank
You've
you for
had
coming
lots
in.
of
Sorry to
submissions,
keep you so
haven't
late.
Sorry?
Sorry you had to wait till the end.
No, I'm fine. Thank
Righto.
you. It's
Cheerio.
interesting. Thank you.
Okay, Steve.